they still had no idea what was making or what had made Sarah so sick. But I think at this point, the investigators and everybody that was involved in the case, they believed that she was definitely poisoned. I think by this point they were looking at the circumstances and were like, no, this is off. The behavior is off. The previous deaths are suspicious, and her general demeanor is off. Something is up. She must have been poisoned. Detectives now decided to bring Diane in for questioning, and the detective who had questioned her later said that it was one of the most stressful interviews he'd ever done, because at that point they had no physical evidence tying Diane to the deaths of her husband and of her son, or to Sarah's illness. So what their detective told her was that they were now re-examining Sean's autopsy, that thankfully the medical examiner still had some tissue samples left from the autopsy, and he asked Diane if something abnormal was to come back from Sean's results, how would she be able to explain that? Diane said she wouldn't be able to explain that. Diane told the detective that Mark had a lot of strange people that he hung out with that were heavy into drugs, and that she wouldn't be surprised if that contributed to his death. The medical examiner had found no evidence that Mark was into heavy drugs. And then Diane had also mentioned that Sarah might have also wanted to hurt herself, but she then said that she had no idea about what happened. The detective then brought up Diane's love and dedication to the church and how strong her faith was. He said that he was similar in his faith, and he told Diane that she was a good woman with good intentions, but that he understood that people can reach breaking points. And he continued by saying that it's important to seek forgiveness and to be honest. Diane admitted that she was having difficulties with Sarah because her school loan bills were coming in and Sarah didn't have a job and she didn't seem to want to get a job. And then she said that Mark was running around along with using drugs and alcohol. The detective then said to Diane, "You have to let me help you." And then she responded by saying, "Put it really short and sweet, I knew they were drinking antifreeze." The detective continued talking to Diane, explaining that at this point she just needed to be truthful. She needed to confess. She needed to tell him what was going on. And he told her that yes, she knew that they were drinking antifreeze, but they didn't know that they were drinking antifreeze. I like the way he flipped that personally. Diane then admitted that she just didn't know what else to do. She said that there were so many arguments. She explained that there was just so much going on. She then explained that she would put a little bit in Sarah and Sean's Coca-Cola and Mark's Gatorade, and as antifreeze is odorless and it doesn't have much taste, they wouldn't realise that there was anything being added to their drinks.